Around a week ago, The Clink Music wrote in the comments section of one of my videos, I would like you to say what key each song is in. I can figure the key from the chords and stuff, but some of the solo stuff throws me off track, as some notes make me confused as to if they're pentatonic or natural major minor. A slight explanation on that with each song would be incredible. So what I'm going to do in answer to that question is break down each song from What's the Story Morning Glory and give a brief explanation as to how to solo over that song. Now before I talk you through exactly how to do this, there's a few things we have to know first. You need to know the notes from fret 0 to 12 on the low E string. They are E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D, E flat, and we've come full circle back to E again. If you know the notes of the low E string, the next thing you need to know is the basic pentatonic box. So that's your basic pentatonic solo scale on the guitar. Now here's the solo scale principle. If the song is in a major key, so say the song is in D major, you find the note on the low E, there's D, 10th fret, and you go down 3. And start your scale from there. If the song is in a minor key, so just D minor, you just find the note and play it from there. And it's as simple as that. If we have a song like Champagne Supernova in A major, find A and go down 3. You play it from there. But if a song is in A minor, like Hello, find A and just play the scale from that note. Simple. We'll start at the beginning. The first song on the album is Hello, and it is in the key of A minor. The song Hello is in standard 440 tuning, so that means Owen Morris did not speed the song up, so if you've tuned your guitar with a digital tuner, it's in tune. So for this, there are 2 scales you need to know. A minor pentatonic, which is the scale Noel tends to use for pretty much everything, the minor pentatonic box. And you mentioned in your comment also that you tend to use the natural minor, so that is just the pentatonic with some gaps filled in. Now, Noel's songwriting style tends to break the rules of normal diatonic songwriting a little bit. He likes to throw in chords that are not in the major scale. So you might occasionally come across a chord that clashes with what you're playing on the lead guitar. The chords to watch out for in Hello, where you have to be careful which note you hit in the scale, are the E major in the bridge. We did in the shadows and we had the chance and threw it away. On that E major, if you hit a G, say there, you get this, which is an E augmented 9, which works in a Hendrix song, but not so much in an Oasis song. So on that E, avoid the note G or sharpen it to G sharp. There's also a moment where he goes to a D. He says, where the life I knew comes to my house and says, and on that D, you can't hit an F. You need to sharpen the F to an F sharp. Because again, you'll end up with that exact same augmented 9 chord, which once again sounds great in Hendrix and terrible in Oasis. Noel Gallagher himself doesn't do that. He writes very interesting chord sequences that really break the rules, and then he solos over them in the most rigid, total adherence to the pentatonic scale ever. And that's part of the Noel sound. The chords are doing one thing and the solo is doing a completely different thing. And there's a little bit of dissonance there, which contributes to the Oasis sound. Noel plays all the interesting beatly chords and then solos over them just in the straight E major pentatonic scale. Boom, no adjustments. And that's a massive part of the Oasis sound. Next we come on to Roll With It. Now on Roll With It you need to retune your guitar a little bit. I use one of these. This is a TGI 81 tuner and it's great, it's very, very accurate, but the main thing about it is, I don't know if you can see that, it has in this corner an adjustment for the hertz. So you can tune from 440 up to 450 or down to 430. So that means you can really get your guitar perfectly in tune even though Owen Morris has sped up the track. So for this song, for Roll With It, you need to tune your guitar to standard tuning but at 446 Hertz. So when it comes to soloing over Roll With It, you have different choices. You can do the E minor / G pentatonic scale. Also available 12 frets higher. And that will cover you for most of the song except the intro, which is a bit strange. Or you can adapt your E natural minor solo scale to include the note F instead of F sharp whenever the F chord is being played. So here's the E natural minor. Now what you would need to do is make sure that every F sharp is flattened down to a natural F when the F chord is being played in Roll With It. Other than that, you can pretty much get away with a normal E minor, G major natural scale. So next we have a really nice easy one, Wonderwall. Owen Morris didn't tinker with the pitch or the speed of this at all, it's just in standard 440 tuning and you can solo over Wonderwall using the F sharp minor solo scales. So here is the F sharp minor pentatonic box from the 2nd fret. And here is exactly the same scale, 12 frets higher, just 1 octave higher from the 14th fret. In both of those positions you can also play the fully fleshed out F sharp natural minor. The only question mark where you have a little room to play around with it is when the chord goes to this shape, with capo 2 obviously, which is an A7 suspended 4. Now that could be major or minor. If you want to make the chord major, what you would have to do is when you play your scale, there's your normal scale, you'd have to sharpen this note to that fret instead. But that's very much up to you. It's not clear in the song, there's no actual definition over what chord that, with the capo, B7 suspended 4th chord actually really is, major or minor, it's not clear. So you can get away with just playing a standard F sharp natural minor solo scale there. Next we come to Don't Look Back in Anger. Now Don't Look Back in Anger has been very sped up quite a lot. It's at 450 Hz, so for this song you do need to retune your guitar to 450. It's in the key of C, which is exactly the same as the key of A minor, so this is played in the same position as Hello from the 5th fret. And the same scales that I showed you for Hello will work for Don't Look Back in Anger. Now Don't Look Back in Anger contains a few more chords that are slightly off the beaten track. Instead of an E minor, which would be the diatonic chord in the key of C, you have an E major. So that means anytime you are playing a solo over that particular chord, you have to sharpen any G notes to G sharps, or just avoid the G altogether. The other place is in the bridge, where the chords play an F minor. At that point, you cannot play the note A. You have to flatten that note so that it fits with the F minor, only while that chord is being played, and then you're back to normal again, straight onto the next chord. But, as I did mention earlier, it's worth considering whether you actually want to do that when soloing over Oasis, because Noel Gallagher never did it. Never. He would just solo using a straight major pentatonic scale, no matter what the chords were doing. He'd just sort of say, oh, this is in E, and then solo in E, no matter how much the chords were bouncing around in and out of different chords and keys and shapes. But if that's what you want to do, then you have to just start thinking in terms of which new notes have been introduced just for the duration of this unusual chord in the sequence. Next we move on to the song Hey Now. Now this one has been very speeded quite aggressively as well, just like Don't Look Back in Anger. So for Hey Now, we need to tune our guitars to 447 Hertz. For most of Hey Now, you are just in regular E minor or G major. The one exception is when the chord in the song changes to B flat. At that point, you go to G minor, which is here. Now that's only for the B flat chord. At that point, you change scale, and as soon as the song changes chord, you go straight back, down 3 frets into G major. Now I'm not going to talk about the Swamp Song excerpts that we have sort of dotted in between tracks, so I'm going to go straight on now to Some Might Say. Now Some Might Say is in B minor, but this one has been very speeded more than anything else on the album. It's been sped up so far that my little tuner doesn't go high enough. To get my guitar in tune with Some Might Say, I had to tune it so that it was actually in F standard tuning at 430 Hertz. So you have to tune the whole guitar up, so it's F, B flat, E flat, A flat, C, F. So the whole thing up 1 fret's worth, but you do that at 430 Hertz. Some Might Say is a very nice, easy one for soloing in once you've got your guitar tuned to the CD. It never goes out of B minor, D. So you've got your pentatonic in B minor, or your full natural minor or D major scale. Next we move on to Cast No Shadow. Now Cast No Shadow has been sped up, but only very fractionally. So you can get away with jamming along with this track in 440, but it's actually in 441. So that's a 1 minute tune-up job. Just put your tuner on and tune it up 1 Hertz, and you're in the correct tuning. The song is in the key of G, so you can basically hang in the open pentatonic or 12th fret pentatonic position if you want. So for Cast No Shadow, you can use the pentatonic box in open or 12th position. And that is very Noel, that's probably what Noel would do. But if you're looking for some of those extra colours and notes that you find in the full major scale, you need to watch out for that Noel A chord that he plays, that A7 suspended fourth. So in the verses, it's not clear from the melody or from the backing whether that A chord is meant to be an A minor or an A major. It's just a kind of A5. So you can certainly get away with soloing in G major or E minor over the verses. It's when the song goes to the "when they took his soul, they stole his pride" refrain. At that point, the backing makes it clear that the A is not an A minor in that section, it's an A major. So we have at that point moved into the position where we need to adjust the solo scale. You cannot play a C over that A, or once again you'll end up with that mad Hendrix chord that we don't really want in an Oasis song. But if you want to add the colours and extra notes of the major scale in, you've got E natural minor, also available up here. But as I've already said, if you're using the E natural minor / G major scale, you do need to adapt the scale for that A in the "when they took his soul, they stole his pride" section. Normally, at the top end of the scale, you would play this. But over the A major in the "when they took his soul, they stole his pride" section, you should play this. So this is the C, and we're sharpening that C to a C sharp so that it works with the A chord. Otherwise, we end up with the Hendrix chord again. Next we have She's Electric. Now She's Electric is not very speeded. Big sigh of relief. So you can just play in 440, you don't need to retune for She's Electric. It's an interesting one chord-wise though. So this is an example of Noel creating a really interesting Beatley kind of rocky 60s style chord sequence, and then just resolutely playing only the pentatonic scale over the top of it. And so you get the usual funny clashes and funny sort of strange moments where you go, did that work? So if you want to solo like Noel over this, you just use a straight E pentatonic scale. But if you want to incorporate all the different chords, you will actually have your work cut out for you. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you want to find the major key, not the minor key, you locate the relevant note on the low E string. So we're in E, so let's go to the 12th fret here, there's our E, and it's major, so we go down 3 frets. So C sharp minor is E major in the pentatonic scale. So that's the E major or C sharp minor pentatonic scale, and that's the exact one that Noel uses. You can see it's all in this position, it's all here. But if you want to solo along with the interesting different chords that are in She's Electric, here's how you do it. When the rhythm instruments move to a G sharp major, you have to sharpen the note B. Because once again, if you play a B over the top of a G sharp major, you get that same chord once again. And in the section where the song goes, "I need more time," at that point you can't stay in the major scale, you have to move into the minor position. So we go straight onto the 12th fret for "and I need more time." The only other adjustment you need to make is when the song goes to an F sharp major. At that point you cannot play an A, you have to sharpen it. Only for that chord, and as soon as the chords move on, you can go back in to the standard position once more. Next up, Morning Glory. Morning Glory is very speeded, almost as high as Don't Look Back in Anger. It's at 449 Hertz. So, happy days, you've got to retune your guitar again. 449 Hertz. Now, Morning Glory uses mostly diatonic chords, so by and large you can get away with just using the E minor pentatonic or the E natural minor. And I've already shown you those scales in Cast No Shadow and Hey Now, so if you want to get those exact scales you can have a little look back at those songs where they're on the screen. But if you want to be able to solo non-diatonically over Morning Glory, there's two chords to look out for. There's that null A, which is an A7 suspended 4, which could be major or minor. So the A chord, you can sharpen a C to a C sharp if you want to cleanly define that chord as an A major. But the big one to watch out for is that B7. You can't be hitting a D over the top of the B7 without creating that B augmented 9 chord that we've been trying to avoid throughout. So only for the duration of the B7, any D notes, you need to push them up 1 fret higher or bend them up 1 fret higher, and as soon as the chords move on, you are back into your standard E minor position. And last of all, Champagne Supernova, no vary speed. So, as I explained earlier, we're in a major key here, we're in the key of A. So we find A on the low E string, 5th fret of the E, and because it's a major key, we don't play the scale from the A, we play it from 3 frets lower. And of course that is the exact scale Noel uses. However, if you would like to play incorporating some of the chord changes, you need to look out for the chord G. When the bass is here, you can't play a G sharp over the top, because have a listen. That is one ugly chord. Good grief. So to incorporate that chord into your scale, when the G is playing, you just have to flatten the 7th of your scale. So here's the top octave of the A major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've just got to flatten that 7 to there. And if you just make that one adjustment while the G chord is playing, you should be right as rain. The only other thing to mention is during the really heavy solo section where you've got 2 solos playing at the same time and a wall of backing vocals, the chords are going A, A add 9, G, then the Noel Gallagher supersonic F sharp, which is actually an F sharp 7 with a suspended 4th, and then F major 7 and a G. Now on this you have to do quite a bit of sort of fiddling with your scale if you want to make it fit with the chord sequence. So we have that same adjustment for the G, so that becomes, we flatten the G sharp to a G. For the F sharp minor, you can just stay in your normal major key, but when it hits that F, you have to modulate up to A minor. For the F and the G, you move up to A minor for your solo scale. So, A, G, F sharp minor, F, G. And that's perhaps one of the most complicated changes in the CD. And if you listen to Paul Weller's solo, if you listen to Noel Gallagher's solo, if you even listen to John Squire's solo at Nebworth, none of them gets it quite right. And that's it. That's how to play every song in the Noel style or in a more musical style that weaves in and out of the chord changes. Hopefully that's been helpful. If you have any more specific questions, or if I've missed a certain chord change that you're not sure about, feel free to just ask me in the comments. I don't pretend that this is absolutely comprehensive, so if you have a question that I haven't answered, please ask it, and I'll hopefully get a chance to reply to you on that. Have fun jamming along to these songs. The easiest ones to practice with will be the ones where you don't have to retune your guitar. So Hello, Wonderwall, She's Electric and Champagne Supernova. Have fun jamming, and remember, you only get better at lead guitar by playing lead guitar. You improve as a soloist by soloing. So have fun jamming. See you next time.